Why is the Righteous Brothers' performance of Unchained Melody so awesome? Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm going to help you sing and perform more like the top artists around the world. I'm a professional voice teacher, performance coach, and opera stage director. I've helped thousands of singers around the world learn the techniques and methods that got the top singers to where they are. So excited to talk about this today. Like you, I've heard the song I can't count how many times, and it's one of the most beloved classics of all time. But I realized I had never really watched it live. It's always just like on the radio, on Spotify or whatever, or you're hearing it walking through the store, right? Like you, I probably tried singing along when I was younger and all kinds of stuff. And it's actually can be a really hard song to sing. And so it's going to be really cool to learn from them and see what they do to make this gorgeous, easy, beautiful sound that they're so well known for. Let's do it.
My love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch.
Okay, so right off the bat, you'll notice the first opening, oh, was actually a little unstable. But then as soon as you got into words, you saw these upper teeth pop out. You see a little bit of lift here, jaw super relaxed, airflow super consistent. It's stabilized really well, working really well, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just a gorgeous tone, right? You'll also notice if you watch here, there's that jaw release a little bit in there. It's really warm. It's not that open ah place that we often talk about, that 80% of a smiling yawn, this ah. It's a little bit smaller than that, a little more collapsed and rounded in the back, which is giving us this more warm, soft, little bit mute, and a little more naive sound. It's not as rich and robust, but again, gorgeous and really intimate. Lovely.
Alone, lonely time, and time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much.
Hey, notice how conversational it is. And by that, I mean, it just looks like he's talking to someone from here forward. You'll notice there's a release here and it's open and back. But from here forward, from the back molars forward, it's just like he's talking. It also influences kind of how he's adjusting rhythms and lengths of rhythms and notes a little bit here and there to make it sound more authentic and genuine to the moment. It's giving some freedom there. And it just sounds really easy and natural and organic. Love it. Really, really great. You will notice here, though, there's some jaw tension, right? There's a little bit of this moving forward and back, and it just, he's holding on to a little bit with that jaw. And then he'll release it again. So what I love about that is two things. One, if you're wondering if you're working with jaw tension, just try moving around a little bit to release it. And often that will release it and help your body learn to let go of it. Other thing is, if all of a sudden you find you have all kinds of jaw tension while you're singing, don't like freak out about it and stress out. Just be like, oh, there it is. Let's release that next time I take a breath or whatever's going on, and just get that to relax. That's all it takes. So often when we're performing, we think we're making a mistake and doing something wrong, and so we got to fix it, and it stresses us out. It pulls us out of the moment. No. Just let yourself be human. Let there be some shakiness, some instability, something that's a little bit wrong. Pay attention to it, and then just slowly let it go and adjust it and move forward. Just like we got to do in real life, right? So love that here. We're not seeing anywhere on his face any kind of strain or stress. He's just involved in communicating and making a beautiful sound. Love it.
Are you still mine? I need your love.
Okay, so that was fascinating. Mine. So he started with a ma, right? And then as he kind of slid up and hit into that note, it wasn't super stable. And to make it stable, he had to pull those teeth out, lift that soft palate again, bring that placement forward. And then he lived as it went in a super forward place right there. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky because when we hear this mo, it tricks our ears into thinking it's going to be this warm, rich, glorious sound. And so that's what it expects to hear. And so it actually, on a subconscious level, colors the rest of the sound with that. Even though it's not there anymore, he gets rid of it. We still kind of hear it mixed in there, right? There's this kind of phenomena that happens where our ears kind of keep hearing that sound a little bit and it blends it together. So really kind of tricky trick that you'll see a lot of different singers use. We often hear it on vowels, especially in the middle upper range. They'll basically be singing an ah, and then they'll morph it at the very last moment to an E or an O or an oo and close it down. And our brain won't have heard the ah at all. It'll just hear that ending vowel. And it tricks our brain into thinking that they sang it all the way through. Kind of a trick that you can employ if you want and play with. But you'll notice in that middle higher range, to keep it stable, to keep it easy, keep it something that he can sustain all the way through, the placement has to be forward, upper teeth have to be out, and the space, the closer it is to 80% of a yawning smile, the more full it will be. If it's collapsed, it'll get a little bit brighter and a little bit tinnier. But as long as it's as wide and open in the back there as we can get it, it will help with this kind of popular sound that we're hearing here.
I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. Yeah. Lonely riverside, wait for me. I'll be coming home, wait for me.
So the other thing here that I think is really interesting is if we're thinking about being expressive with our body, right? There's two aspects to it when we're talking about performing. The first aspect that we normally jump to is there anything distracting? Is there anything that's pulling our attention away from what they're saying or from the music or from us engaging with what's going on? If there is, we got to get rid of those distractions as quickly as possible. Now, you might think that means fidgeting with your hands or doing anything with your body and that you have to just stay super still. No. That's not what I mean. What I mean is your body doing anything that a real person saying these words with this emotion wouldn't do? And if so, those things have to go. But if we only do that, it kind of only brings us to a neutral place where we're just kind of there. Right? There's nothing distracting, but there's nothing that's actively communicating either. And that's really nuanced and showing us that we have specific emotions and thoughts going on. As I'm watching him here, it seems like he's kind of living in this neutral place. There's nothing distracting, nothing that's like, oh, he's not in that place or that is pulling me away from the song music. In fact, because he's not doing a ton, I am really just paying attention to music. I'm able to hear all the really interesting things in the orchestra that I never really paid attention to before. But it also doesn't engage me on a deeper level, right? It doesn't really transport me to somewhere new. So going to the next step is not just trying to eliminate distractions, but trying to be a vulnerable, real, authentic human being that is trying to express something that's in a real moment, at least in their mind, even if what's all around them is not normal or natural, right? I mean, he's standing with an audience around him in this little like lighted box thing. I don't know. Not natural, but we want to have him transport us away from this to somewhere totally different. And is that happening for me? Not really. Is it letting me kind of relive some of past memories that I have with this song listening to on the radio? Sure. There's stuff like that too. But that's what I'm seeing here. That's really interesting. Does that mean something's wrong or bad or whatever? No, it's actually really pleasant. It's really great, really educational and entertaining at the same time. I'm not bored, but I'm also not super moved and engaged either. So the question is, could we take this a little bit further and make it even a little bit more engaged, a little more moving for the audience? Yes. Would I mess with what he's doing with his voice? No, it's gorgeous, works really well with this song. But I think his body could be a little bit more engaged in helping tell us the story so that we know he really means what he's singing here. Other thing is we get this crooner sound, right? This has a little more ooh, oh, in that mouth. There's a little more tall and roundness in back than we would usually use with straight pop or rock or some other genres like that really want more of the box, the add, and the back. That's what softens it up a little bit. What happens with the overtone series is that the overtone series are a little more focused in the lower frequencies, so the primary pitch and the other frequencies right above that, and then the singers form in a little bit, and some other ones in between, but not as strong. When you get that app position, it's more evenly stacked all the way up, which lets us cut through a band or more percussive instruments. Here, he's singing with an orchestra. The instruments he's singing with are more aligned with operatic or classical type singing, right? Where really he doesn't have this jangly band thing going on. So he has very specific places that if he amplifies those frequencies, which he's doing by how he's singing, it'll cut through just fine. On top of the fact that he has a mic, so he doesn't have to make it as bright and as pingy as an opera singer would. And so that's what allows him to make the sound still be heard, still be intelligible, and it's a gorgeous sound that we all love. Love it.
Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch, lonely time. And time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine?
Dang it! Why did they pull away from his face on the high note? That's the one I was wanting to see. But of course, they pulled away right when we need to see it. What you'll notice there is as he's going to the high note, the teeth start coming out, but it's still kind of covered, and it actually is a little unstable. And then as he has to, and he goes that higher place, because otherwise he's not going to get it, I think what you would see if the camera didn't pull away is that then this pulls up. You actually see it happen a little bit when he releases the note, that the lips give a little bit, and I think you would see even more if it went up there, right? And that it goes really into this place up on top there. So that's what we see, and then obviously we're coming back and we're back to this just kind of natural, there's kind of like just a gentle smile in everything he's singing. What we're seeing here is really indicative of what we mean by a conversational singing style, where it just looks both in his body and up here in his mouth, jaw, that he's just talking, pleasantly talking to us, right? And that's all it needs to be. A lot of people think you have to open up super wide here in front, and you do if you're going for a certain sound and style, but it's not necessary per se just to make an easy sound. And when you have a microphone and you're doing your thing, the goal is to just keep the sound easy, and as long as you can be heard through that audience, keep that placement consistent, which he's doing. He's keeping a really nice forward conversational placement with that open back to give it some warmth, and it's glorious.
Speak your love to me.
Haha, we finally got something on the higher. Now, it wasn't that bright, pingy forward that we had before when they pulled it off, right? It's more meh, is Ma with a little bit of more focus in the back, which made it that kind of softer, more countertenor, opera type of sound there in back that softened it up a little bit. So that's how he got it. Clearly, he has had plenty of time on stage up to this point when we're seeing this video. He looks so comfortable, confident, and just keeping it as easy as possible, doing his thing, and really, really enjoyed it. So, Righteous Brothers, Unchained Melody, awesome. You can book a lesson with me at foundyourvoice.com. You can also find me at wizio.com if you want to send me a short video or audio clip for me to respond to and give you tips and feedback on. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Comment down below with what you love about the Righteous Brothers, some of your favorite memories when you're listening to them, or what you're wanting to hear next. I'd love to hear from you. See you next time.